Good morning, everybody. And DAX is pretty much squirt up and pull back. Now, been some questions on oscillators, so let's just clear this up now. When we're on the higher time frames, you can see the oscillators are overbought. The oscillator is an indicator. It does not mean that this thing is going to fall to the floor. We need a multitude of things before we can even think that we have a potential reversal. So this just indicates that we are overbought, and that the probability of us extending higher is less. Now, when we get down to lower time frames, you'll see a little bit of change in what that strategy means. But at the moment, this is a strong move up. We are overbought. The daily is not quite overbought yet, you can see, and the weekly is definitely overbought. And if we go to the monthly, you can see the monthly is also overbought, but just kind of eased off. Now, it can stay like this for extended period of time, that we know, but the reality is, don't look at the oscillators as the trigger for any trade. It has to be used in conjunction with your levels. Otherwise, you're just shooting in the dark. Okay, so what we're seeing at the moment on the DAX is that we have had a really strong move up. We are in an area of potential resistance, and this range bar top here is the first one. That's at 16,985. And then obviously that's going to round off to 1700. So big round number. We've hit it twice before. We've hit this zone twice before. And this is a case of third time lucky or third time unlucky. So when we drill down to the 3 hour, pay attention to your oscillators again. So we are overbought, but the trend is up. So we still go with the trend. But in order for this to become a trigger to say that we are now confident that this is going to be moving, we need to start dropping below these tails here. So we need to drop below 16,851, and even then I wouldn't be too concerned because the moving averages are still pointing up very strongly. So the trend is very strong to the upside here. It's just you're looking for opportunities to buy, but obviously you don't want to be buying up here. You want to be buying lower down. So the higher time frames, we are all overbought, indicating that we potentially are going to go into a range, or there could be some kind of a pullback. But for that pullback to happen, we'd have to break structure, come back, test it, and move down. And as I say, even with this level I've drawn in here now, a break of that, because we are above the 150, I take that with a pinch of salt. That would just be some kind of a pullback onto the next bit of structure, one of these tails to the left. Now, when we start drilling down to lower time frames, and you can hit that like button quickly, you start seeing how the oscillators tend to oscillate. So they'll peak, they'll fall, they'll peak. Now, if you just look at this component here over the last week, we know in the higher time frames we are extremely overbought on the oscillators, but the minute the lower oscillators get down grouping, and then you look left and you're looking for structure, and in this example there's the structure there. You can see this swing high here. You can see how we rejected it there. That was a failed test, and then we tried again. We had a decent pin bar off it, but just to trap everybody that didn't have their stops below the previous swing low, came back to test it again. And there you can see my inside bar. So I've got a pin bar, I've got another pin bar, I've got an inside bar off a level. That's my long entry there. And look at my oscillators. They are agreeing with that scenario. So that's just the thing on the oscillators. You need those oscillators to be in line, and you need the level to be there, and you need price to be at the level, and you need the price action as well as the moving averages pointing in the right direction before you take your trade. Anyway, there is a description to the strategy video in the link. Just watch it. Right, for today, same kind of thing. Watching the oscillators right now. We are looking at a multitude of levels here. So you can see there's a pin bar there. There's also a fairly decent pin bar there. I'll give you the levels now. Let's just get them in. We are pointing to the downside, so I would expect sideways or at least another move to the downside. There is a trend line here as well, which seems to be fairly strong, and I can probably extend it to this and probably down to here. So let's just get to the 15 minutes, and that should tell us. Right, so we're on the trend line. We are breaking it, but just take that with a pinch of salt. So from a 15-minute perspective, we're in amongst the moving averages. Definitely don't want to be looking at that for opportunities at the moment, being a Monday as well. So you're probably going to be ranging between 16,936 and 16,895. That's kind of the area that I think we're going to be ranging on at the moment. But again, this is a relatively strong move up on Friday and then sort of just going sideways. So if you do break 16,936 to the upside, come back, build a base, moving averages cross over, then there is definitely an opportunity for a long, and you will be capped by 16,985, possibly 1700, depending what kind of catalyst we have. But I think that's kind of the move at the moment. Not really interested in shorts at the moment. We are trending up, and if you just take this off the hour, oscillator, start grouping to the downside, start looking for my level. So any one of these two levels here would be a buying opportunity. 16,895, and right where we are at 16,915. You could even fall as low as 16,855, but again, I'd want to see what happens with the buyers there and look at price action at that level. Okay, so on your lower time frames, definitely pay very close attention to the oscillators, and when you see them group to the downside, you can be forgiven for looking left and saying, okay, there's structure. You can see this clear bit of structure here at 16,855. I'm on the 15-minute chart. Look at my oscillators grouping to the downside. I have an engulfing bar, should be getting another engulfing bar or inside bar for a double bottom. There it is. It forms right here. So jump in long, short is there, so your stop is there at 47 pips, and you're looking for at least 47 because it is a double top, and you can see as soon as you get to that 50-point range, we start going sideways. And if you watch your oscillators on the 15-minute here, you can see they're starting to group. Measured move is there, so you get out of the trade, and being Friday. Anyway, so that's kind of my view for today. Definitely think we should be looking for more of the same, but for as long as we're staying above the 150, and you can see the last couple of days from when we broke through, we have come back to respect it once, twice, so I wouldn't be too surprised to see us respect it again. But anything down here is worth an opportunity to buy, and I'm 50-point risk, so fairly decent risk to reward. And we are looking for 16,985. Hope that helps, and we'll catch up with you tomorrow morning. Cheers for now.